Hey folks, welcome to another video on our Hexploration decks and tiles crowdfunding campaign. Today is the last day. We've got it ending tonight at 11 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. It's Wednesday, the 12th of March as I'm recording this. And so there's only a few hours left. And what I wanted to do is show a quick example of using the cards and tiles together. Who does this, but we created a whole free web app for you to try things out as far as the tiles go. We also have sample tiles for you to download, and you can bring them into any paint program that you prefer to use. And we've also got a sample of the decks of cards, which give you ideas about each location that you might create. So we're just going to fan through a couple of these here. But yeah, so talking about the tool, we did a video about the tool before. We've done a video about the tiles and the cards before as well. What you can do is just reload this page a couple of times until you get a map that is somewhat like the region that you might be thinking of. I'll just hit refresh a couple of times just to show a couple of varied regions, if you will. But then you can pick one. So say, I'm going to do another one yet. So say I like this idea of this swampy region down here, and I want to, and so one of the changes that's new in the free web app hex mapping program called Hexlands, it's inkwellideas.com/roleplayingtools, Hexlands, and we'll have that linked down below, of course. But you can change up the terrain, so you can scroll through the terrain. This is something that we just added a few days ago, so you can scroll through all this. So say, for example, if we wanted to have another swampy area down here so that this is all kind of connected, we can drop that down there, and we've got 3 different swamp tiles to choose from. So if I wanted to switch it to this one, you can. So you've got a couple of options there, and so that's one of the new things in the tool. The other new thing in the tool is to auto place coasts. Before you could add in coastlines, but you could, and I'll show something similar to that in a moment, but it did get a little tedious to do that. So now just hit the big wave button and it automatically will look at where the land is adjacent to sea and create a coastline. And if you don't like the first go, you can have it do another one and do another one and so forth until you get something that matches what you might like. Of course, you can totally change things around. You can customize it and just put the particular coast here from this row of buttons, and then click on the map where you might want it to go. But doing the auto coast is a whole lot faster. We also have a little bit of a river tool here, so you can click on for example, a mouth to a river, and of course it's got to go into this swampy area, right? So we can pick this here, and we've got a function to rotate the icon, so I can just pick this here, and I can click this arrow a few times to get it close, and then this does a 1 degree change, and then I can move it so I can get it. Once I got it roughly in place, I can then put that there, and then I can go and scroll through here and find more icons. So if I just want this to be over, if I want this to do this video quickly, I'll just pick this long straight side here and click on the map roughly where it needs to go, hit select on it, again rotate this so that it gets roughly into the position that we need it to go, and then go ahead and hit move and then drag it over here. And so there you go. But we also have options to have origins where it just switches to like a small stream area. And we've got a fork in the river down here. We've got a couple lakes. So you've got all those options to create a river. It just will take a minute for you to do each section, place it and rotate it properly. Okay, but with that out of the way, then, and I should point out that we've got these as tiles, so you can, on the crowdfunding campaign, which this is all for, Hexploration decks and tiles, for the tiles, they will come as 3-inch tiles where you can get the images and you can use them in a paint program and print them out, or you can print them yourself as tiles as well, individually, and lay them out, or you can use our pre-printed tiles, which will be laminated, so they'll have good reuse where you can draw in roads, for example, but we're also going to have clings for rivers and coasts, as well as for towers and towns. So you can just put little clings that will match these icons here down. So we can grab this tower here and decide where do we want to put this tower. Maybe we want to stick it up in this mountain region here. And that doesn't quite fit right where I put it, so I can just hit this arrows thing, which is our move button, and then click and drag on it so it gets placed so that the base is in that little valley, if you will. Say I wanted to have a lighthouse, I can stick that in here, and likewise click the arrows so I'm in move mode, and then move it a little bit and then let go. I want to have this weird tower. I love this weird tower. This thing here strikes me as something that's like in the Badlands or the desert, so I'm going to stick it here in the border of those two. We've also got those some villages. So here we've got a little farming village type thing, and so I can stick that here in this area. I can have a larger town. Say this larger town is more likely in this hilly grassland area, for example, and I want to have something coastal, of course. So I'm going to go way down here. I'm going to pick this large city, if you will, and I'm going to stick this on the coast somewhere. I think I'm going to put it on the edge of the swamp over here. So it's just outside of the swamp, but not in the forest either. If I didn't have this tower here or this lighthouse here already, I would move it. So I can place these things on the map to whatever density makes sense for me and whatever scale makes sense for me. In the deck, we do have a few cards. Let me flip back to that. In the deck, this is our sample deck. It gives you 54 cards from the various decks that we're doing. And we've hit a stretch goal, in fact, to do a bonus whole deck. So originally we were going to do 4 decks. We've hit a stretch goal giving you a 5th deck. And if you're backing for all 4 decks, you're going to get that 5th deck free. So it's like an automatic 20 or 25% off discount. And likewise for the tiles, if you're getting the pre-printed tiles, we were going to do 64 of those, and we've hit a couple of stretch goals to make that 80. So you're going to get that as well. So anyway, towards the back of the deck, we've got some instructional kind of things that go over, and so we've got a whole idea on frequency and stocking your hex crawl and so forth. Hex crawl, point crawl, sandbox. For me, it's really all about a player-driven campaign. In fact, I'd recommend doing all of this exercise as part of your session 0 as you're about to develop characters. Get buy-in from your players for your campaign by having them help develop it with you. Lay out these tiles, put down these locations, and then look through the deck to fill it all in here. Look at these locations. So for example, if I wanted to have a coastal town, here we go. So if we flip back over here, if we want to develop what this coastal town is all about, we can go back to this card deck here and we can see who's ruling it and what the current issue is. What are the opportunities? Hey, here's story hooks here as far as they need tutors to educate and prepare noble youth. If you've got a wizard in the group, okay, they're tutoring some noble kid, and now you've got all this intrigue from the court in your campaign. Or maybe some wealthy merchants need them as agents to serve as messenger, spy, caravan guards, whatever the case might be. You've got all that stuff going on there. And then if we dive through the deck further and we're looking at options for our tower, for example, if I flip through here, I'm sure I'm going to come across a few. Ooh, there we go. I love that artwork. I love all the artwork. So actually, before I go any further, let me mention artwork. So the tiles are all done by Dyson Logos. For us, he's adapted the maps that he's done previously. He's created an Autumn Lands and a Midsummer Lands series of maps that use this artwork. And since we've worked with Dyson in the past, even though he does say on the pages for these maps that they are part of his commercial use stuff where you just have to credit him, because this is so transformative, we wanted to make sure that we reached out to him, and also because we've got a good relationship with him from our Dungeon Morph dice and everything that we've done in the past, we said, hey, Dyson, we'd like to make tiles for this crowdfunding project that we're doing using your art. And he said, yeah, I've been looking for an opportunity to do something like that. And he even showed us some prototypes of what he was thinking about. So we mashed our concepts together and came up with this. Just give credit. You have to give credit to Dyson to use the artwork, cartography by Dyson Logos. And if you're using our tool, just add in there something like using the Hexplorations map tool so that we can continue to spread the word about it. But Dyson's done all of this. And then the artwork here for the decks is done primarily by the Forge Studios. There's a few pieces for things that the Forge didn't have prepared previously by Ella Carter and Winston Liu. And then I also can't say enough about the writing is all done by Andrew Shields. I do a few things here and there, but primarily Andrew does the vast majority of the cards, and then I put it all together. So that's our credit portion of this. So if we're looking for a tower, hey, this would make a great tower of information here. What are the current problems here? Who is this tower for? This is a College of Whispers. The students here, what are they studying? Why is it built? But then in these points, you really start getting into the current problems are going to be a bunch of story hooks, and who wants control of it is also going to give you a bunch of story hooks. And you can look through here and look for what makes a good fit for your campaign, what meshes with the other cards, with the other locations that you've developed as you're going through this, and you put together a session 0 that's partly making your characters and partly putting together the campaign to get buy-in from your players so that they know what the big picture of what's going on. And sure, there's going to be some things that you want to change up, and you don't want them to know all the secrets about the campaign area. So you're going to not necessarily dive into that portion of it with them, or if there are some things that are developed, you're going to want to tell them, hey, guys, I'm not going to use everything verbatim because we do need to make some of this needs to be a mystery to you. So we're going to change up some of it and we're going to add some things. But this way here, they've got an idea of what the big picture is, and false narrator in stories where they think that the secret behind something is X, but it's really Y. So that's a great way to start a campaign. And so I'd encourage you to use this with your players, but there's nothing stopping you from setting up the campaign and idea and pitching it to your players. But I know that it definitely helps me to ground my character in the campaign by really knowing a lot about it and having some buy-in by having created part of it. So you've got all this great artworks. For example, like you can go the other way. We were placing locations on the map, and then we were trying to find cards where we were looking at that coastal town or that tower, for example. But we could also look here, and we've got these standing stones. And so we can look at some of the mysteries and options here, and if we like this card, then we can go ahead back to our map, and sure enough, we're going to have a few icons that are something like that. So here we've got this set of standing stones and also this set of pillars as well. And so we can pick either of these, and we can drop this here in the swamp there. It's remote, and it's a ritual thing there. And we can go back to our card and pick what seems interesting, or you can roll. These are all set up as D6 charts, so you can roll here and you can look and see what happens here. The stones grow warm and hiss. If you listen just right, you can almost hear words. Oh, that's a great way to feed the players more rumors or more background info about the campaign. Some mystical stuff. Monsters are drawn here. Hunters lay ambushes. So that's another way for, the campaign, maybe they need to attract a monster because they're trying to put together some magical item and they need, the heart of this and the eyeballs of that. Here's a great way to make that happen. So these cards are chock full of great story hooks and ideas for your campaign, and we just love them. And again, we've got them crowdfunding through tonight at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, U.S. So I'd really hope to get your support for creating these, and I think you're going to be really happy with them. And there's plenty of samples there too. There's this sample deck, there's the sample cards, there's the sample tiles, the sample web app. So you've got a lot of, you'll know what you're going to get out of this. So please do check it out. We'll have a link down below, obviously. Thanks a bunch. Bye.